Tell us all about Vanity Fur. How did this start?
Oh my gosh. Okay. So we only have an hour, right? So I'm going to try to condense it. So I guess I have to back up and take you from where I began before Vanity Fur. So I was basically general manager in a few different restaurant concepts. So I was in the hospitality industry for 12 and a half years.
Okay.
Started as a bartender in my 20s, just had to work. So then I got promoted into the old spaghetti factories, and I was general manager for several of their concepts. Great business, learned so much with them. But something said, 5 years in, there's something more for me out there. So then I left for, at that time, I think more money. So then I found Yard House Restaurants, wonderful concept. They're super successful. And I just sort of kind of felt turned and burned more there and opened up one of their like historical openings in the Rancho Cucamonga area. And it was just 16-hour days, 6-day weeks. It was brutal. And I ended up leaving there because, again, unfulfilled, just like there's got to be something better. So then I find improv comedy clubs, and like how amazing, I'm getting paid now to laugh. And you know me, I love laughing. Humor is, where that's my base. Humor, I find humor in a lot of things, and even in in the valleys.
Right.
But so I'm there. I love it. I'm a assistant general manager. I'm getting paid to laugh. I'm paying comedians, and at that point they were going to promote me to be a general manager with them in their Irvine club.
Okay.
So excited about it, but realized that I really didn't have the control that I needed to achieve what they wanted me to achieve. Simultaneously, I also realized that I think this was my turning point when I began Vanity Fair. What I realized is I'm writing checks to these big names, these big comedians, and I realized reading their contracts, they were all their own brands and they were
Mm.
all their own businesses. And what I really learned was I'm writing them a check for my annual salary, and they just spent the weekend here. So it was really my turning point where I thought, well, if they can do it, having fun at what they're doing, I can go find what it is that keeps calling me away from this thing. So I ended up quitting and leaving reluctantly. By the way, I have a million friends from all of these concepts. I had great experiences. I employed hundreds of employees. I learned so much in that time frame, but I left. And I didn't know what I was going to do. And I was newly married at that time. And, he probably thought, well, what the heck are you doing? And I'm just following my gut. I'm just following my gut. Don't worry, I'll figure it out. I have no idea what I'm going to do.
Awesome.
I have a steady job for all these years, and now you're just going to wing it. And yeah. And so I literally fell back into bartending, and I'm just going to do what is my passion. And I had a few things. One of them would have taken me back to the restaurant. I love cooking, but I'm not going back there. The other thing is animals, pets. I just like am going to do something I'm passionate about. So I make up these silly business cards like on Vistaprint, put my dogs on it in my backyard, and I'm bartending. I'm passing them out. Hey guys, by the way, I'm going to watch dogs in my backyard, and this is what I'm going to do. And I met this gentleman, and he says, you should meet my wife. She's a mobile pet groomer.
Hmm.
I didn't even know what a mobile pet groomer was. Never even thought about a groomer or grooming. Never thought about that. Seems high skilled. I don't know. And then she comes in one night, and I go out and see her vehicle, and she takes me out for a day that week. And I was just sold. I'm like, this is for me. Are you kidding? Because I can't really be kept in four walls. I learned that early with my
Okay.
parents' businesses. I just can't be in an office all day. Now I love to be in my office actually, but that is where it started. So I go to school, I become a cat and a dog groomer. I learned that while they're building a trailer for me. So I am going to get a truck and a trailer, and I'm off to business in about 6 weeks.
What year is this?
This is 2010.
Okay.
So yeah, now we're in 24. So, 14 years ago.
Sure.
And so I start, and I love it. I love meeting the dogs and meeting the clients. And I love talking to people and like learning what they're going through. And then of course the dogs, the
Of
fluffy, warm,
course.
you know? So I just really loved it. But then what I realized is I couldn't keep up with like the demand. I filled up so
Really?
quickly. I could only do so many dogs. Then I found a girl, and so she was a groomer. So then I built another mobile and I customized that different. And then this starts probably 2012 to 2016,
Mm-hmm.
where I just keep growing and keep getting another mobile. And every time I got another mobile, I would customize it. I customized different trailers at that time, trucks, trailers, to be more conducive to the large senior pet with bad hips, and then the groomer, because it wasn't really built for the groomer. So I just wanted to make that scenario better. And so 5 builders later, now we're only doing vans. We've ditched the trucks, trailers, and generators for good reasons.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, and so it just started. But what I realized is like, I'm never going to be able to keep up with business. Even though they're building, more mobiles, there's competitors. She's building more mobiles
Right.
for other people to be business owners, which were groomer business owners. But yeah, so that's like how Vanity first started. And then I don't know, I just knew I needed to franchise this thing because how am I going to keep up?
Yeah. Okay. So how did franchising come into be? Like, you must have had this defining moment where something happened and you said, I've got to figure out, right, how am I going to expand?
It was 1,000% that. But if back when I was in the restaurants, because I was just trying to figure out why, it's not that I was unhappy, but why am I not fulfilled? Why is this not working out for me?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm a huge, well, back then I had to read books or listen to CDs, and thank goodness for podcasts and Audible. But I was just consuming really Robert Kiyosaki and
Sure.
Tony Robbins, which I know you're a Tony Robbins fan.
Huge fan. Yeah.
I walked on fire too.
Yes.
But yeah, so I was really consuming really Robert Kiyosaki and that whole rich dad, poor dad thing. And I just started understanding if I'm going to grow and scale, it's got to be through this franchising model. I don't
Smart.
know how I'm going to do it, but I'm going to learn more. And then I found some franchise advisors, which were monumental, are still very helpful to
Mm-hmm.
have the advisory to walk you through it, because you realize it's a whole new beast. It's a whole new animal. This
Yeah.
isn't dog grooming anymore. It's not fluffy. It's not, cute anymore. This is a whole new real business. And I don't know. I just knew I wanted to franchise. There were people saying, no way, it costs too much money. You'll never, you
Mm-hmm.
can't do it. And so then I'm like, well, I'm going to do it, so.
Yeah. Well, you've learned the most valuable lesson, Jean Marie, is that you've already realized, though you've only franchised now for about 3 years, that you're in a completely new business. Because you're, as much as you love dogs, you get a chance to impact others through your franchise owners by impacting their lives, and they get to impact their clients' lives. So you get so much further of a reach, but you realize you're in the franchise business, not necessarily in the dog grooming business anymore.
Yeah, and that they are also fellow dog lovers. Dog lovers can just connect already, but
Totally.
to be able to grow and scale, and hopefully one day we get a national footprint,
Mm-hmm.
but doing it through people that are like-minded, that are entrepreneurial and want to scale and really grasp how hard it is to get a groomer, that they get the fire in their belly and they love, doing what they're doing. And it's just, I love it so far. So far, I was a horrible student in school, but man, I can just learn about franchising. I nerd out on it, really. I love it. It's, and now my manager, who was a groomer,
Mm-hmm.
she was also a pet groomer. She's been with me 9 years. I have other groomers that have been with me she's been with me 10 years. The other ones have been with me 8 and 9 years. And then the others are year or
Wow.
two. But now she's got she really sees the vision now. And
Mm-hmm.
for the last couple of years is with me at franchise conventions, and she wants this as bad as I do. And so
Oh,
it's just
that's awesome.
fun when everybody gets fired up about it.
It is amazing when you have that experience where you realize the business is so much bigger than you and other people see your vision and then they come with ideas. And it's just, that is the power of franchising, right? 101.
Yes, yes. I want your story one day, Frank. I really do.
Well, my story, I always tell people when they go, oh my gosh, like I-9, it was successful. It was a 20-year overnight success, truly. It really, it really was. There was nothing overnight about it other than we made a lot of mistakes, but I always say we learn from our mistakes, and that's the only thing you could do is learn from them, learn from your mistakes quickly, and don't make the same mistake twice, for God's sakes, because they are awfully expensive.
Yes, I was going to say, if you did, that would cost you a lot of money. And every time that not every time, there's been a handful of times where I have made a high dollar mistake.
Sure.
And even if I get going against the advice of my attorney, he'll love that I said that because he did tell me it. He's like, I told you not to do that. And I said, yeah, but I was excited. I wanted, to grow Vanity Fur as fast as I know it could.
Right.
But it was expensive, and I just call it my franchise education.
There you go. Yeah. Well, one of the speakers I love in business is Keith Cunningham. I'm not sure if you're familiar with Keith, but Keith is he teaches at Business Mastery at Tony's program, and Keith talks about paying the dumb tax. And he says Keith always says that every mistake he's ever made always started out as a good idea.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, and no matter who told him what to do.
Exactly, right? We've never said, "Oh, this is a terrible idea. Let's go ahead and do it." We always start out with, "This is a great idea. Let's go ahead and do it." And then we find that we run into problems. We're like, why didn't I see that?" Right?
Yeah, I think I read his book. If he has a book, because I know that I've read it all about dumb tax.
His book is called. I highly recommend it. It's called The Road Less Stupid.
Yes. Yeah, I have. It's in my Audible. I have consumed it. Yes.
It is. We've all paid the dumb tax. Every single one of us. You just don't want to pay too much dumb tax. Thank you for tuning into the Emerging Franchise Brands podcast. For additional insights, guest applications, and to stay connected, visit us at efbpodcast.com. The Emerging Franchise Brands podcast is for entertainment purposes only, and the views expressed do not necessarily represent those of Emerging Franchise Brands, its host Frank Fiume, or Emerging Franchise Group LLC. Any discussed franchise or investment opportunity requires thorough investigation, obtaining proper disclosure documents, and expert consultation before making any investment decisions. The podcast and its host do not offer professional advice or endorsements, and they hold no responsibility for actions, representations, accuracy, or consequential damages related to the podcast content.